Let me get a flat tire. Shh. Thank you, class. Because we are socially distant right now, we're staying in our seats for this lesson, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you to lower your masks a little bit. Give you some air to breathe. Okay, please get ready for your social studies lesson today. I have written on the board the objective, and we have been talking about this for a few days. We've been talking about the standard, define a constitution and discuss its purposes. So we're going to continue this conversation today, and we're going to also review some of the text that we read yesterday to go over those keywords that you need to know again. The objective of today's lesson is that you will be able to, after reading this text and after our group discussions, you will be able to give me examples of rules that make our school and our community safe. Now you're probably wondering, what do school rules have anything to do with the government? Well, that's what we're about to explore today so that we can understand this standard better. Thank you for clearing off your desks and showing me that you're ready. So yesterday we went over some keywords, and we saw those keywords in the text. And John Michael, thank you so much. John Michael helped us identify those words, which we went ahead and highlighted. And then I went ahead and put it on chart paper for you with the definitions, because once you know the keywords in the text, it helps you remember and understand the text better. Don't you agree?
Yes.
I agree. When I'm reading, if I know what the words mean, I will definitely comprehend what I'm reading. Also, before I continue, I wanted to mention that we've also been working on the speaking skill. That means that today we're going to do some activities where you will have to work with a partner on responding orally. So instead of responding in writing or using technology, you're going to actually speak your responses. And that's going to help me see if you understand what we've read, but also if you are learning how to communicate your ideas and your opinions, and you can communicate what you've learned orally. So as we're reading and as we're doing this lesson, I'm going to be working on some strategies with you on how to improve your oral responses. Sounds fun?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do before we read the text is I want you to think about what are some of the school-wide rules that we have here, right in our school, that helps keep our students safe. Wow, John Matthew is a fast thinker.
Keep your seatbelts on.
Seatbelts on at school, school-wide rule.
Like when in the car line.
When you're coming to school, that's a good response. John Michael.
No bullying.
The no bullying rule, that's a huge rule in our school. We should treat others with respect, treat them the way we want to be treated. We don't bully others. I love that one. Chloe.
During these times, we have to wear our masks.
We have to wear our masks. We do. When we leave our classroom, while we walk our hallways, we need to keep our masks on to keep ourselves safe. Did you have another one, John Matthew?
Yes. Follow the CGE expectations.
Following CGE expectations, absolutely. Rules are not just put in place to be mean to you. They're put in place to keep you safe. And that brings me to our government. We've been talking about our Constitution lately. Does anyone remember what the Constitution is? Chloe.
It's the fundamental principles that our founding fathers made.
That's right, our founding fathers that helped build this country sat down, just like you're going to do later today. You're going to come up with ideas, and they came up with ideas on what kinds of laws do we want to protect our citizens. And guess what? Till even today, we still use the Constitution. We always refer back to the Constitution to make sure that our laws are to protect the people. That's what the laws are for. It's so to make sure that our government is actually protecting us. Okay, I'm going to jump into the text now. We read this yesterday, but now I'm going to do it as a read aloud. Yesterday you read it on your own, and we did, I asked you to come up with the key words. John Michael helped us with that. Now I'm going to do a quick read aloud of the text. No one likes to have too many rules, but without rules, it would be impossible to run a school, a city, or a country. What would happen in a school, city, or country that didn't have any rules or laws? Rules and laws protect us. It is the role of the government to set up these rules and laws to make sure that people follow them. We are a democracy. We talked about that word the other day. A democracy, the type of government that we have, the people in our country actually help make decisions. We help elect our officials. Do you remember what electing means? When you elect someone, John Matthew.
To choose someone.
We choose our representatives, that's right, we choose who runs our country. So we have a democracy. I also wanted to mention that when I use the word democracy, when you see it in our textbooks, we're talking about democracy in the United States. And the reason that's important to mention is because there are democracies that look different in other countries, like Mexico and Japan. They have democracies, but their government is very different from ours. So, for this reason, our government is designed as a representative democracy or a republic because people elect the representatives. We make the laws, they run the government, and the President of the United States and the members of Congress are examples of elected representatives. We have a constitution. It is a written plan that the government uses. Does anyone have any questions either regarding the text that we read and that we reviewed again today, or any of the vocabulary words? You guys understand it?
Yes.
Amazing, awesome. So fabulous, fifth graders. The next thing we're gonna do is called a think, pair, share. Think, pair, share. I'm gonna give you a question and you are gonna work with your reading buddies. So Chloe, who's your reading buddy again?
John Michael.
John Michael. And John Matthew, your reading buddy is sitting right behind you. So in a moment, you're gonna turn to your partner. I'm gonna give you a question to think about. I want you to talk about it. You have 2 minutes to do this. And then you're gonna write your response, whatever you come up with as partners. And then, after 2 minutes, I'm gonna call on a couple of you to see who wants to share, again, orally, not in writing. You're gonna share orally what you have come up with. Are you ready for your question?
Yes.
The question that I want you to think about is, we've gone over school-wide rules. Now I want you to think about what rules can you remember in the state or in the country that help us stay safe as citizens. Think of country rules now, or state rules now. Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes to think about that. Okay guys, you've had a few minutes to collaborate with your partners on discussing some of the country laws or state laws that you hopefully came up with. I've also given you pictures on the board to help you come up with responses if you had a hard time with this. So either using the pictures or just in discussing with your partners, does anyone want to share orally what they came up with? John Matthew.
Having IDs to come in and out of the country.
Yes, that's a huge rule in our country. You should have identification as you're traveling, as you're leaving the country, coming into the country. That's a really great response. You guys were partners. What did you guys come up with? Who wants to share first? Chloe.
We came up with that you have to have a license to drive.
Absolutely. It's very important in the United States that you drive with a driver's license. That protects you as the driver. It also protects the people in other cars and in the streets. Did you have another one, John Michael?
Yeah, stop at any stop signs or any signs on the road.
Yes. Our country has lots of signs all over the road and in buildings. It's important to abide by these signs and rules. Again, these things keep us safe. Nicely done. I loved listening to you guys collaborating. I was walking around listening to your discussions. So really good job on that activity. The last activity we're gonna do is you are gonna work on your own in a minute, creating a Flipgrid. Do you guys remember what that is? Flipgrid is that app that we used the last time in the classroom where you create a video and instead of writing your response, you're telling me your response in a video. So go ahead and take out your devices and I'm gonna bring up the Flipgrid link on my screen. I'll be right back. There we go. I'm sorry I have to run to my computer. My pen stopped working today, of course, of all days. So, I have sent you each the link. And raise your hand if you remember how to use Flipgrid. Okay. So John Matthew, now that you see it, do you remember how to use it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So in a moment, I want you to think about, and again, this time you're doing this on your own. Feel free to use the notes that you took yesterday. So if you want to take out your social studies journal, take it out. The words that we wrote down in our journal yesterday would be fantastic to use now in our response if you can. Okay, that way we are integrating our social studies, our ELA, and our speaking standards all at once. And the question that I want you to think about for this activity is, why is it important for our government to make laws that protect our country and its citizens? Again, this goes back to the Constitution. Why did our founding fathers think this was important? I want you to think about why are laws important. I gave you a few sentence starters. So this will help you. If you can't think of a way to start your sentence, again, I want to help you improve how you respond orally. So I gave you 3 choices that you can pick from. You can start your sentence by saying, one way laws are important are, and you fill it in. Or you can say, I think it is important that our government makes laws to protect us because, blank, 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 blank. You fill that in. Or just come up with your own response. Remember, it's important to try to use some of the words that we've learned in our discussion, in your group work, and in reading the text that we read yesterday. So I'm going to walk away quietly and give you a few minutes to record your videos, plan your video. If you want to write it out first, plan what you're going to say, then record yourself giving me an answer. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand. Okay? Any questions now? Yes?
Where do you go to Flipgrid?
Oh, I sent you the link if you just look right there in Google Classroom. There it is. You see it? Okay, you're just going to click on that right now. Anyone else? Did you all find it?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm going to walk away for a few minutes. Did you have a question, Chloe?
No, never mind. I found it.
You sure? Okay. Do you understand the prompt?
Yes.
Okay. Think back at everything we talked about. Think about what we read. Now it's your turn to just tell me why you think making laws is important. Okay? I'll give you a few seconds. Your videos are only 30 seconds long. I'll be right back. Have you guys had enough time to create your videos?
Yes.
Give me a thumbs up if you're done. Awesome, 5th graders. Did you submit your videos?
Yes.
Yes, good job, 5th graders. Now, I wanted to say, and this is my fault, I totally forgot to mention that I am going to review your responses using a rubric. And I've given you copies of the rubric, so you see what are the things that I'm looking for. Because I didn't mention it before, if you feel that you want to go ahead and look at the rubric and redo your video, that's totally fine with me. But if you're happy with your response and you feel that you have covered everything that I'm asking for in that rubric, then just submit it and I will look at it later on today. Okay? Tomorrow, boys and girls, we're going to do an expansion of the lesson. I like to expand lessons because that way it deepens your understanding. The lesson tomorrow, we're going to do a jigsaw activity.
What is jigsaw?
Jigsaw, think of a jigsaw puzzle. There's lots of pieces, right?
Yeah.
And then the puzzle doesn't make sense until you put all the pieces together. It makes one big picture.
Yeah.
That's what you're kind of do. You're kind of do. You're going to be working with partners. Actually, for the jigsaw activity, it's going to be 3 to 4 people per group. And I'm going to have you use Ducksters, the website, and you're going to look up how laws are made. And I want you as a group to take a look at Ducksters' website. All the information you need is there. And for the activity, you guys are going to discuss again and think of any rule, school-wide rule, and any state law that are kind of similar. Can I give you an example?
Yes.
The wearing of IDs. We wear our IDs to come into school. You can't just walk into the school building these days without an ID. The same thing with our country. You need to have some sort of ID, or you should have ID to come into our country. So that's a similar rule. Once you've come up with a similar rule and a law, you're gonna create a poster. Who loves artwork in here? I do. I love coloring. I love any opportunity given to color. So we are gonna create these posters where you're gonna write out your school rule, you're gonna write out your law, and then you can design the poster any way you want. And then after our second and third day working on this, we're gonna put all our posters together. We're gonna create this big, giant poster of our class explaining, again, why the Constitution and why it's important to have laws that protect us here in the United States. Do we have any questions? Anything you want to add? Any word maybe you still didn't understand? Yes, Chloe?
How do I get to Ducksters?
Ducksters. Okay, we're gonna go onto our Google, the Google bar,
Yeah.
your search bar, and you just have to type in the word Ducksters. But this is for tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the next activity we're gonna do for the next couple of days. We're gonna make our jigsaw come together. I'm gonna assign the groups, and we are gonna create our posters. Okay, does that sound like fun?
Yes.
All right, great. You guys have been fantastic throughout this lesson. Thank you so much. You may go ahead and start putting your things away, and let's get ready for math.